Good afternoon. This is Phil True. I'm back, and today we're going to talk about something with respect to African history, seeing Black History Month actually starts officially tomorrow. So I think it's good that we address this once and for all, talk about some of the misnomers, the miseducation, the myths, and what's fact, what is not. One of the things I'd like to do is to make sure that when we reference information, we always back it up with documentation to support our position. First thing I want to talk about is the origin of man. It has been discussed in a lot of different circles that mankind actually has three different origins. We have the polygenetic theory that there's Asians, there's Caucasians, and there's blacks, and they all came from different places on the globe, etc. The fact of the matter is, they know all peoples, all of humankind that inhabit the earth today originated from one source, and that is an African woman around the Great Lake region of Africa is the only people that have the DNA that would allow us to become all the different species of man that are on the earth today. But I don't want to just say that without supporting that position. Here is Newsweek, The Search for Adam and Eve. This is January 11th, 1988. And they actually did a DNA study where they took DNA from all these different groups and found that the only people that had the necessary DNA to make all the people that we consider Asian, Indian, like in India, African, Caucasian, etc., all derived from this one source. Now, this takes me to another point that I find interesting, but let me give you a couple other references just so we're clear. This is National Geographic. This is March 2006. Again, it says all the people that inhabit the earth today started out as these people in Africa. So, two things I think we need to establish with that. If in fact they are around the equator, what do they look like? There is a law that we need to be very clear about. This is a law, it is not a theory. Gloger's law, Gloger, law, says all humankind and all warm-blooded mammals secrete a substance called a melanin. A melanin is what gives you your pigmentation, and that means that all the people in this region, here's an example of a lady in the Sudan. The Sudan sits on the equator, okay? This is what the people in the Sudan and what's called the South Sudan look like. Now I want to make sure everyone's very clear about where I'm talking about geographically on the earth. The Sudan is adjacent to what you know to be Egypt. It'll be the southern portion of what we now call Egypt going down towards the equator. And if this is what the people look like in that region, we need to know a couple things. Why is that the case? And why did they change it? Now, how then did this become how man began, and this become how man began if in fact you're on the equator? You must then use what's called Gloger's law. All mammals or living things in and around the equator secrete a substance called a melanin. That would mean you'd have to be black. This is what they would lead you to believe. It says our Ice Age heritage, language, art, fashion, and the family. Okay? So I want you to look closely at this picture and look at what they call their house. Now, you tell me, maybe I'm a little confused. This is November 10th, 1986. If this is what your house looks like, I can't imagine that you would have fine art hanging on your walls when you made your structure out of bones and skin. I'm just saying. Here's another interesting document. And the reason I want to make sure that you're very clear and aware of these documents, because they're very old and typically we don't get our hands on this kind of information. What does that say? 10,000 years of solitude. Meaning these people were living in harmony with nature and the universe for tens of thousands of years before they encountered what you now know to be called, watch this, this is what they look like, Australians. These are the indigenous Australians that no longer exist on planet Earth today. These are all a part of that group of people that all mankind, they said according to DNA, and womankind originated from. These original people were called the Hutu and the Twa. Today they've been renamed with a derogatory term called a pygmy. All the people on the earth derive from these peoples. They went from pygmy, which is a person that's approximately 3 feet tall. The next level in their evolution, they call themselves the Masaba. They're a little more sophisticated, they're bigger, they're much healthier. And I'm going to show you pictures of each one of these people as they evolve. They go then to what's called the non-hero cult Nihilistic Negro. Now, 2 things should come to your mind. Nihilistic Negro, meaning the people are moving from the Great Lake region of Africa, Kilimanjaro. They're going down what's called the Blue Nile and the White Nile. They're going north and they're going down in altitude. Okay? Now, when you say non-hero cult, what exactly does that mean? They have not evolved to the point yet that they have something that they consider to be greater than themselves that they would look at in the terms that we would think today as heroes. I.e., next idea of that would be what you know to be gods. Okay? And we'll get to how these things all evolved, how they came up with these ideas, and why. Everything in nature, we must be very clear about man and his original existence on the earth. Everything he did, everything he learned was from observation. He didn't have the luxury of imagining and speculating on what was going to be real and what was not going to be real in his existence, because everything he did was a life and death decision. If you make the wrong choice, you eat the wrong plant, the wrong type of insect, the wrong kind of reptile. Everything at that point with early man, you must understand, was badder than man. At that point in our existence, man was not king of the valley.